Hello, fellow Kaiju fans and monster nerds. I'm Michael Hamilton. I am the principal partner and art director for Kaiju Ramen magazine. And thank you so much for joining us for this live stream. We have an exciting conversation. I hope it's exciting with a good friend of ours, and to talk about his brand new project that I think you've heard of by now. So before we get into that, though, I want to introduce my good friend and one of our lead writers for Kaiju Ramen magazine, Mr. Danny DiManna.
Hello there, Mr. Hamilton. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. And there's a reason why we're talking in such a funny accent.
Yeah, running jokes. That's why. Running jokes.
Really bad running jokes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But at least the running joke kind of makes sense for the subject matter that we're actually going to be talking about.
Almost. It's just about there.
But I don't want to dance around it too much. So you want to go ahead and bring in our guest, Mr. McClintock of Titanic Creations. Good sir, how are you doing?
Good. How are both of you guys?
Good, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're broadcasting with us right after work. So just thanks, man, for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I need to sell some more Gorgos so I can quit my day job. But
right, so help the man quit his day job and go full time making toys for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Right, exactly. Because we all need more toys. If you haven't known this by now, we're a bunch of monster nerds, but we're also a bunch of toy nerds. So more toys, the better. But no, thank you, man, for showing up and doing this with us. And it's going to be a good time. We're already getting a few people in the chat. We've already got a few people watching us now. So I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly check in with everybody, make sure everybody's good, and then we'll kind of get into it, man. So first up, we have the queen herself, Miss Kaiju Kim. Miss Kim, how are you doing this fine evening? GZ 2002, how's it going? Adam's here.
Hey, there he
is. There he is. Adam, what are you drinking tonight? I almost made myself a happy moment, but I wanted to be sober for this stream. So there we go.
Professionalism first.
Professionalism first.
Tonight,
guys. Yes. We got Dino Zoo Pro. I don't know how. I'm probably going to butcher that, but I don't know.
Project.
Okay.
I think
yes. Okay. Well, that works. Oscar Solis, how are you doing, good sir? Adrian, my fellow brethren over at Monsters with Attitude.
There he is.
Yo, Adrian, like he's not heard that.
Yeah, he's never heard that one before. That's
No, he's not. He's not
rolling his eyes right now at all. That's fine.
No, not Adrian. He takes all those jokes in stride for sure. So thank you guys for showing up for this conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot about this project that we're all incredibly excited for. But first, we got to get to know the man, the myth, the legend behind it. Mac, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your history with Kaiju and Titanic Creations.
So I'm Mac McClintock. I am the chief owner operator of Titanic Creations. Basically, if you buy something from me, I have to package it, ship it, the whole shebang, right? So we started Titanic Creations 5 years ago, right? And many of you guys probably know Titanicus was our first figure. That was kind of how we started. We got a good start, we figured out how to do all the things, and then we grew that line. Right? Danny has one. One of my favorites is the repaint, right? But really the biggest thing was we did Titanicus. That sold well enough, and then we did 3 more that have been doing good, right? So we finished series 1, and then we were able to take that money and eventually go and make a whole graphic novel that's going to ship here in a few weeks. And if you've already ordered it, you should have your digital copy. And then all of that kind of accumulated into this kind of big project where we're like, yo, we really need you. We need to go find the most obscure thing that everyone loves and make it into a figure. And that's how we got to Gorgo right now.
Well, that's impressive, man. That's it. That's impressive because you're right. Like there's not a ton of like Gorgo stuff, and we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. I want to kind of lay the groundwork first. But how did you get into kaiju, and just how did you get into this genre of movies and just entertainment in general?
So I think probably I follow a lot of the same line of thought for a lot of people is, right, you're like 3 to 4, you really like dinosaurs, right?
Right.
And then your dad, right, like on HBO or TMC or whatever, right, shows you some Godzilla movie and you're like, that is the coolest dinosaur ever, right? So that
because it can
the first movie
breathe
for me
fire.
was- exactly, right? So my first movie was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and 5-year-old me still couldn't understand the continuity, just like how I can't now. But right, so but
It's
I was
something you
hooked from that point.
don't think too hard about it. It's if you don't think too
Right.
hard about it, it's a good movie.
Exactly, right. And I got hooked from there. I think it's called the Aurora Godzilla. I don't know if you guys know which Godzilla I'm talking about. It's like 12 inches tall.
Yeah.
That was my first figure. We got it from a local model shop. The thing like was melted before we got it, so all the spikes were like bent. And there's pictures of me at 5, 6 years old just carrying that around like it's a stuffed animal, right? So I grew into that. And then next thing was started going to GFest, right? Got really in. I just really loved the idea of everything, and I feel like those GFest experiences when I was younger, right, really formed a lot of how we wanted to view things at Titanic Creations, right? Because when I was younger, right, you could go to GFest with $500 and you could come home with a serious load of toys, right? If you go to GFest now with $500, you might get 3 toys if you really
maybe
want
2 if you're lucky.
specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And I know Gorgo is a little bit more expensive, but like most of our line has been around $40, especially if you buy multiple. And really, it's always just been about staying within price reasonability and also finding manufacturing ways to get that done. So really, it's all about trying to make something that is for the community and by the community.
Well, it sounds like kind of the same spirit that Kaiju Ramen was started with. Like it started out with someone who's really passionate about like this genre of movie and this genre and tokusatsu and giant monsters in general. And then you kind of took and you spun that passion into an actual business and tried to do something that was good not just for the community but for yourself as well. And I know we joked at the top of the stream about like let's let you quit your day job so you can focus on this, but that really is the dream though.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer, right? So really the biggest thing that we've always found is that like the toys came first before the comics, because as a lot of you guys know, is especially when you're talking about kaiju and monster, is if there's a toy and you can physically hold it, it makes it much easier to connect with quickly.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And now what we found, right, is that we feel like we've got a good foothold with people who go to GFest, who like kaiju things, right? So then we feel like our comic book and this being 108 pages and a full story is going to let us, branch off into like more mainstream comic areas where those people might not all buy toys, but if 1 out of 10 people who buy a comic book eventually become people who buy toys, that's kind of how we grow, and that's kind of a slow process over time. And then also doing licensed figures is another good way to help grow the brand.
Were you a big comic book reader as a kid? Go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just go ahead. You're fine.
I was just saying, were you a big comic book reader growing up, Mac?
So I got really into the Godzilla comic books. I wouldn't read the individual ones. I'd always read the big volumes because I am the Generation Z and we have no patience for anything, right? So we got to get the whole story at once, right? So I got really into that form. The Pacific Rim graphic novels, those were always great. And I think another thing is that like the goal is eventually to build towards we can do animated things, right? And I feel like the artwork we did for Soulware is a lot similar to like that 90s cartoon style, right? Where it feels, it's like that good line between realistic and unrealistic. And I think it also is a diversion away from what you're seeing a lot in modern comics, which is a lot of more digital art or the anime form, right? So it kind of sticks out in its own way there.
Right.
That's super duper cool. Kind of related to toys. This was a question that popped into my head because obviously all three of us are toy people. What kind of Godzilla toys, kaiju toys, or just toys in general do you like to collect? As a fellow collector, I'm always curious about that stuff. Are you a Bandai guy, X Plus, Monster Arts, Sofubi? What's up? All the above?
So I think I have some of everything at this point.
Nice.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So basically, I think 2010, 2013 was my real Sofubi era before X Plus became a big thing. And then really I probably did a lot of X Plus stuff until about 2020, right? And then I'm looking around. I have no shelf space anymore. Those things are killing it.
It's a good problem to have, man. It's good.
Right, exactly. Right. But then the lines that I really started collecting were, if there's an SH star I really want, right, that I think is, something that's different, like the Bandai, the Gigan that's going to come out here, the 19 one.
Looks phenomenal.
I have to. I have to.
Right.
I have to. Yeah.
And then the ones that I've really been focused on getting out is all the Chibi X Plus ones, because they're like really good sculpts and they're cute and they also are very small, so I can not feel like I'm gonna look like a hoarder for the rest of my life.
Michael, have you and I already crossed that? We've already crossed that line, haven't we, Michael?
This shelf behind me is only a portion of it, so yes, I've already crossed the line into hoarder territory.
Do you get weird looks? Do you get weird looks from the pizza guy?
No, the pizza guy doesn't see me. This is my office, so the pizza guy doesn't see he sees all my posters in the apartment, but he doesn't see my office with the figures and stuff like that. But the first time Julie, my girlfriend, walks in here, and when she comes over, she just kind of looks around and she's like, "You really like this stuff, don't you?" I'm like,
right,
just a smidge.
I collect for my health. It's fine. It has nothing to do with personal passion or anything. No,
it's financial. It is a very financially enriching hobby. I will say that.
I don't think you can use the word rich in any capacity when you collect these things, because it's going to be me in a series of elaborately connected refrigerator boxes with all my toys one of these days. It really is. It's going to be a problem.
Oh, for sure.
But box forts are cool. It's fine.
Oh yeah, Eric, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping in with us. I know you're busy with the family tonight, but thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate it. So Mac, kind of on the same vein as what types of toys you collect. Walk us through the early stages of the Gorgo project. Like what got that project started? Who did you have to talk to? So probably a good place to start, wouldn't you say, Danny, is the license, because the license is the big part of it.
That's the thing that really jumped out at me when this project started to get teased, and my goodness, the teases for this project.
Yeah, we went hard. We went really hard.
You went hard, sir. You went hard, and it freaking worked, is what it did. But it's like, wait a minute, what do these guys do? No way! And then it comes out that it's officially licensed. So what does that look like on your end of things? Who did you have to talk to? How did you find that person, those people, that entity, that company? What did you just walk us through that, because that is kind of unprecedented for something like this. You don't see that kind of stuff happen often.
So I think what really started first was Gorgo was always kind of on my radar, because there's this weird public domain thing with Gorgo. Right, because technically Gorgo, the character, is public domain, because the comic books came out before the movie, and then the movie, right, the comic book company expired and no one renewed the license, right?
It's kind of like King Kong.
A little bit like King Kong, right? But if you look at the comic books by Ditko, and I like Ditko's artwork, right? But they don't match. They don't match with the movie. Right. And I think what people really wanted is they want Gorgo from the movie. So and then me and Dope Pope started talking. We're like, we both want to do this. So I'm like, I have to figure out who actually owns this. So I go to the copyright registry, and I started searching Gorgo, and there's a lot of weird things named Gorgo out there. I learned like there's some truck lube, right? That like I don't know what that is. There's like a tire company. It's weird, right?
I want Gorgo tires
else,
on my car. That would be amazing,
right? Right. I don't know how they look or anything, but there's a copyright for it. But eventually, what we find is VCI, the entertainment company that released the Blu-ray, filed a quit claim that they owned Gorgo. So what a quit claim basically is, for anyone who doesn't want to spend 20 minutes or 20 hours like I did reading Lego Jumbo, is they're saying that they got the rights from someone who says they own it, but have no legal paperwork to say they own it. Right? And then so I reach out to VCI, they say they own it, and then I start trying to go back to who else could possibly know about this. So I look at the filing and who they filed it with, right? So my understanding of the story of what happened is King's Brothers goes under soon after Gorgo comes out, right? I think it's a 5 or so years. The camera crew on that set talks to the King's Brothers about acquiring the license to Gorgo to be able to sell the film, do whatever they want with it. Apparently, the husband and wife hold on to it for like 50 years until about 2009. And then VCI is able to track them down and get it from them. And that's kind of where we got to. And no one's ever challenged. No one's ever challenged that VCI owns this. So we had to work with them. It also helped us a little bit on the licensing side, how much we had to pay up front for this, just because it's kind of dicey. But I was going to reach out to the camera people and try to understand their side of the story, but both of them literally passed away a year after they sold this to VCI. So the only people who have any knowledge about this is VCI, who is located in Oklahoma. So that's kind of the crazy journey of how we got the license to do this.
Wow. That is crazy. So legal like shenanigans like that fascinate me and hurt my head tremendously. So like you hear stories about this kind of stuff all the time. If you want to put a certain movie in a DVD or a Blu-ray box set, the hurdles you have to jump through, the people that you try to track down and then you find out that they've passed away 20 years ago. So there's no such thing as a boring who owns the rights to this story.
No, never. Right.
So I thank you for walking us through that. I find that fascinating. That is a lot of work to do something like that. That's impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. Go ahead. No, finish your thought.
I think the other thing, right, that was difficult is we got to a general agreement with VCI around November, right? And then I felt confident enough to show off the model that Dope had been working on, right? And that's kind of our big announcement. It took us another 2 months of just calling them to get them to sign stuff because I didn't think they thought there was any interest in this film at all, right? So, I mean, it's fine on our end, but like, it's crazy to me how like no one has even thought about this monster until like we started like really pushing it. And I mean, I don't mean that like fans haven't cared, but like no company has been, it's not like NECA's out there trying to Gorgo, right?
Right.
So it was a challenge that I did not expect at all.
Well,
speaking,
when it comes to somebody's got to do it. Like that's my perspective on stuff like this is somebody's got to show not just themselves and not just like the IP, but the rest of the fans that somebody cares about this guy, right? You know, somebody cares. So that's tremendously important. And that's just so cool. Good on you for doing all the legwork to make that happen. A lot of people would have heard the words copyright registry and their brains would have turned off and they would have run for the hills. So thank you for not running for the hills.
Yep.
So one of the huge selling points of this project is your involvement with Dope Pope. And for us in the community, we've known of Dope Pope for a long time now. The last figure that I had of him, the last figure that was designed by him was the X Plus 25 centimeter Orga, which was a beautiful, beautiful figure.
Love it.
And for anyone who doesn't know who Dope Pope is a digital artist. He's a 3D artist, but he's had several kaiju sculpts like circling the internet for years now. He has a really beautiful Baragon. I've seen his version of Gorgo. So I'm going to pull up the image here of the actual 3D model and then the 3D model of the articulated figure too. And if you wouldn't mind, just kind of walk us through, what that conversation kind of looked like between you and Dope Pope and how that all got started.
It looks so good. It looks so good. Look.
So really how it started is we really, the whole my work with Dope Pope and everything really started from the beginning with this project, because he was just going to do the sculpt on the left for fun, just to show it off on his Instagram, right? And I was like, I really want to do that figure, right? And then we talked it out, we made a deal together, and we just said, all right, let's do this together and let's, make it. So he does this beautiful sculpt, right, on the left, and then we have to work with our articulation guy who, due to his involvement with larger companies, can't actually be credited on this, which is sad. But
that's too bad.
It is
yeah,
too bad.
so, but like the images you see on the right here, like they're not as high res as the ones on the left, because we kind of were pushing these at the 11th hour to get them up out there. But really the process here is Dope Pope makes this amazing sculpt where it has all the details, right? And then we're like, okay, we want to keep all those because that's the big thing, right? It has to look great. And then we move it over to articulation. And this is kind of where we're at right now in production, is we do all the joints cuts, right? So we see where all the joints are going to be and kind of how it's going to work, right? So we're not as reliant on ball joints as H Monster Arts is, right? We got some hinges, we got some, action figure shoulders, right? That aren't, just going to pop off easily. But the biggest thing, right, we're going through right now is our articulation guy digitally is going through and testing these joints to make sure they work, which is saying that it's great that we can do it digitally, so that I'm not in 10 weeks after we make a big steel mold having to play with the toy and then talk with the factory in China and ship things back and forth, which causes numerous delays. But really, I think it's just this big process of being like, we want to make sure that the model is really great first, so that when we send it to the factory, it's bang, 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 and it's here.
Right. Now this is gorgeous. Like I said, I've seen Dope Pope's Gorgo, a version of his Gorgo, I should say, kind of circling the internet for a few years now. So when this project came on the radar, like I was very excited, especially after we learned that Dope Pope was involved, because I knew that the sculpt was going to be incredibly accurate, because Dope Pope does incredibly accurate 3D renderings for the kaiju. So
yeah, I think we have been incredibly blessed that he has designed all of our figures, right? Titanicus, Nosferodon, Grafixus, and Scrayas, right? All of them are Dope Pope sculpts, and it's kind of crazy, right? We're doing this. We're 2018, right? We hired Dope Pope to do Titanicus, and then shortly after, right, X Plus hires him. Mezco's 18 centimeter Godzilla is all designed by him, right? It's like all these, the big guys hire this person who I was like, that is the person we are doing all of our figures with, and that is the baseline, because I don't think there's no one who gets like the emotion and detail of these kaiju as good as he does.
I completely agree with that. I mean, I remember when Dope Pope's name first started popping up online and his work started getting circulated, and kind of a similar vein is I kind of, in the back of my head, I almost see it a little bit like how Matt Frank jumped on the scene with Godzilla Neo back in the day. And, again, he started out doing these smaller fan produced things. And then, people with functioning eyeballs looked at these things and said, holy cow, we need to pay this guy because he's amazing. And, the rest is history. And now people like Dope Pope and people like, obviously Bob Eggleton's been doing that. And you said something about capturing the emotions. And I think that's true, because when I think of the best kaiju artists, like, I mean, I don't know, like the best, but like the people that you can look and say, well, Bob did that or Matt Frank did that. It's because those artists, I think, capture a bit of the soul of the monster in
Mhm.
the sculpt, in the painting, the drawing, whatever medium they're using. The artists, the kaiju artists that hit me most in the heart when I look at what they do, they're the people who can look at the monster, they can look at whatever's on the screen, they can look at a flat image, whatever it is, and they can translate it, and they can somehow impart the soul from the movie into the piece that they're working on. And it's kind of an intangible, I guess just, I don't know, for lack of a better word, soul to it that just works. And Dope Pope 100%, I've always thought he pulled that off. So you could not be working with a better sculptor on this. You really couldn't. You put together a heck of a team on this thing. I mean, because Matt's also involved.
Exactly.
He did.
Yeah. So we'll show Matt's
there
art.
It is.
There it is. I was actually gonna segue into talking about Matt, because being able to work with Dope Pope is one thing, but being able to work with Matt Frank to do the box art is another. Like we've been blessed enough to work with Matt in the past on some projects too, and he's a great friend of the magazine and a great person to work with, because he really loves this stuff, and you can tell, and that comes through his work. So I want to ask you, Mac, was this arrangement of art, was this your concept that he just brought to life, or did you kind of let Matt Frank be Matt Frank?
So I think it's kind of a combination of both, right? So I know both of you guys have seen the boxes we do now, right? So the wrap round and they're see-through. So our goal was, we want to keep that design because I think it's about as good as we can do it. But I was like, okay, if I'm going to make this $100 figure of this monster no one's ever done, I need to have the kaiju guy do the art. So I reached out to Matt. I'm like, hey, here's what we got to do. I need an amazing picture of Gorgo. I want you to do the best thing you can do. And so this whole thing he did on the back here, we don't have any talk about that. I say, you do it. You just do your thing, right? What you don't see here, though, is the front and sides of the boxes, which are even better. Because it doesn't have Gorgo, right? But it's the way Matt Frank was able to translate scenes from the movie to make a cohesive panorama around the box that you can put the figure in and display it is going to be amazing to look at when we're able to show the full box.
I can't wait.
Be good. That's going to be great.
It's gonna be fantastic, because I think I saw on Matt's Twitter or Instagram, whichever it was, the other day, him working on this project. I think it was just a few days ago. Didn't get to see the full box, just got to see a little peek of what else he's got going on. So I figure the whole box art, his box art's is gonna look wonderful. I'm kind of Danny and I both are, I guess we all are, if we're kaiju collectors. We appreciate a good box just as much as we appreciate the figure itself. Because we love the artistry that goes into these projects. But this is gorgeous. So you've got Dope Pope, you've got Matt on board. I mean, you guys are, from all intents and purposes, you guys are doing everything right.
I think that's really what we want to do, right? Is we want to bring in people who love this monster, right? Dope Pope and Matt both have a very high passion level for this. I mean, I know when the day launched in the first 2 days, Matt was tweeting about it constantly, and I appreciate him so much for that, and just driving traffic and everything. And because beyond just doing great work, I like having people on board who care about what we're doing as well. And I think really what that's going to end up being is that when these are shipped out, and I'm very, very, very strongly believe we're going to hit our October 31st date, probably before that, if I'm being optimistic. But right. But I think what you're going to get is when you open this, you're going to be like, first of all, it's going to be as well made as all of our other figures. Right? If you guys have felt a Titanic Creations figure, it probably could be used as a weapon and run over by a truck and not break.
This thing, This thing could kill someone. If you threw it at a human head, it would absolutely drop them to the ground. I can fully attest to that. That these things are incredibly solid, and the joints are strong, and my gosh, and then the paint. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and gush about Titanic, but because he speaks for himself. But he's so cool.
Yeah, but
I love him.
I think the big is that like you're going to get a product that comes. It's going to feel like something that you feel like for $100 was the best thing you spent money on if you're a Kaiju fan, and that's our goal.
That's a good goal to have.
It is a good goal to have, and here's a cheeky question. So after Gorgo we're just going to assume that it's going to be a success. Because for all intents and purposes, we're just going to assume it's going to be a success, because from our perspective, Danny and a lot of people in the community, we think this thing's going to be a really, really awesome thing to have, and people are going to be talking about this project for a while. So, are there any plans to do any other more obscure European kaiju, like, I don't know, Reptilicus, Conga? Just some of the more obscure boys and girls that we don't get to see a whole lot of representation for.
So what I can say right now is,
okay,
Reptilicus is close. It's very close to being done.
This brings me joy.
Reptilicus is close.
Wow. That was almost meant to be a joke, but I'm so happy.
Yes.
There are two other ones. We have a meeting first week of April with a Japanese company that made a movie very similar to Gorgo. If you guys can figure out what
I know it. Yep. I know what it is. I know who they are.
And then
I mean what they are. I mean who they are. No.
Right.
Nope.
Right. And then the other one we're getting close to having a contact on is a South Korean kaiju. Those are the three that are next on our to-do list.
I'm not gonna name names or anything, but it's gonna sit a little bit lower here just to kind of hide that. There we go. Well, okay, so that's
really exciting
and awesome.
That is really exciting. Like I said, these very obscure, like I watched Reptilicus the other night. I watched Gorgo, and then I got the itch to watch some of these more obscure European kaiju films. And so I watched Reptilicus and then Conga not too long after that. But you don't see a whole lot of representation for these creatures outside of just some really kind of odds and ends, and some, like, I think Reptilicus has a Sofubi figure circling around. I think M1 made one. I think it's made by M1 or something like that.
There are a couple different color schemes out there for it. It's around.
Right. Yeah. But like, to hear that someone's actually thinking about giving us something like that, I think that's going to be a big hit with people outside. Not that Godzilla and Kong and Gamera and Ultraman are, they're all great, but we really want some of these more obscure things too.
Well, yeah, here's the metric. I have about 8 billion Godzilla toys. I have one Gorgo model kit here. One Gorgo model kit that doesn't. It's there, and I have no Reptilicus. I have no Congas. I have no Congas. I have no giant behemoths. I have no the giant claw. I have no giant claw. I would love it. Just gonna throw that out into the universe. Hey, Oscar! Oscar knows what's up.
The giant claw.
Actually, I'd actually like to talk. So the giant claw is, I have contacted people who own the giant claw, which is Sony, right? Which is not exactly the best people.
Don't give me hope, man. Don't give me hope.
So basically, I was doing some math on this, right? The problem with the giant claw right now is, if we wanted to make it, it's going to be, if we did the same order run as we are for Gorgo, to be able to cover Sony's demands for licensing for the giant claw, it would be about a $250 figure. And like, it's just, it'd have to be great, right? But at the end of the day is like, I would much rather work with a few more people who want to like get stuff made than get
That's completely fair.
Know,
That's completely
fair.
That makes sense.
$50,000 guarantee for a monster no one cares. Yeah, I mean, it just I sit around. I almost respond to the email. I mean, right, but the email from Sony, right? They send and they say, for all plastic monsters, we have a $50K guarantee at signing. It's what they want, right? And I was about to respond, like, who here has ever emailed you about doing anything with the giant claw?
No one. I can answer that right now.
And I can guarantee you no one.
No one.
No one.
No one.
Right? And it's just it's frustrating sometimes what having to work with these licensors, but it is what it is, the game.
It's a thing. I've seen that happen, not as much with toy production, but I've seen it happen with home video releases. It's notorious where you want to release a classic movie on Blu-ray. You want to give it a nice restoration. You want to get it out there, and you go and you do all the homework and you figure out, okay, well, the person who made this movie died 40 years ago and their estate owns the film, and then you go to the estate and they want way too much money for this obscure Z movie from 1953. It's like nobody,
exactly,
who the heck is, like, how many people have come to you and said, I really want to release It Conquered the World on 4K Blu-ray with bonus features. Just take like I will pay you what it is worth. I would maybe even a little bit more than what it's worth, because it's It Conquered the World. But like, I'm giving you money and nobody else is coming to you and saying, take my money for It Conquered the World, a movie about a pickle from Venus that fights Lee Van Cleef. Like, it's a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's like, but how many people are coming and saying, just take the money? How many people are coming to Sony and saying, we want to license the giant claw? There have been a couple of claw things out there. I know Hot Toys did one a few years ago, in a couple different scales, but it's like, I don't get it. Like, it's free money for these people for something they don't care about.
They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything. Right?
They just got to sign some paperwork, lean it back in their office chairs, and cash the check. Watch the money flow in. That's it. So I can only imagine. And I mean, I'm hearing about this, and it's like frustration by proxy. But I can only imagine how annoying it must be to get those emails and just go like, oh my God, just let me release this toy, please.
Right. I think if you guys want like some other projects we're working on, we are really wanting to work on the Ray Harryhausen figures.
Oh, my man.
Big
Bless
one.
you.
My man.
Because like X Plus has been doing it, right? But the beauty of all those films is that they're stop motion films, right? And what I think people want is they want to be able to redo the stop motion films
with the articulation
with their figures. And exactly. So if we get that one, I feel like it would be a big one. But it's just kind of like, we got to get a few of these out in the first, right, before we go, to Warner Brothers and the bigger ones.
Right. You kind of have to. I mean, you guys have already proven yourself with your own IP with Titanicus and some others, but to take an existing IP like Gorgo and running with it and making a successful figure out of it, that's a whole other animal. So if you can prove that you're able to do that, I'm sure you will get the attention of other people out there, Warner Brothers, and maybe Sony will come down on their price. I don't know. Probably not. Sony's pretty greedy.
Sony's kind of greedy. Sony, if you're listening, we love you, but you're greedy.
You're greedy. Incredibly greedy.
Incredibly greedy. So here's the thing. The closer you guys get to your ultimate goal, which we'll chat about here in a sec, the higher those numbers go, and this is not for you, Matt, because I'm talking to the people listening. If the higher those pre-order numbers get, that's a higher number that Mac here can take to a Sony, to a Warner Brothers, the Ray Harryhausen Foundation, whatever entities deal with those things, other licensees or licensors. And if the higher that number is, the more likely they're going to say, dang, these guys know how to run a campaign. They know how to get the word out. They know how to make a good, strong figure. And they know how to do things that will make us money because we're greedy. And so the higher that number goes, the more support that we as fans and as a community show to this darn thing, the more we're going to get, like, I don't want to look too far ahead into the future, because right now the priority is Gorgo and trying to get this thing as much support as it needs and just celebrating this figure and what you guys have done. But looking ahead, the higher that number goes, the more we get to support, the more cool stuff we get to put on our shelves. An entire Titanic creation shelf in our collections of obscure friggin' monsters that nobody else will touch. That's a dream, man. It's a dream. It's so good. I want to see it happen.
Joining the likes of Spiral and SH Monster Arts and X Plus, you know, that is the dream. One of the listeners, Oscar, posted a really interesting question that kind of correlates to something that we have heard you guys maybe mention at some point in the past about being involved in some kind of movie or series associated with Gorgo. Can you talk about that, or any or dispel that rumor completely?
So here's what's going on. There is going to be a 60-page Gorgo graphic novel that comes out,
right?
Probably mid next year, right?
Okay.
Based upon how these figures have gone, right? That's a good start, right?
Okay.
So the thought process here is, we make the figure, we sell the figures. That's a good start. That gives us cash on hand. It also proof of concept that people actually care about Gorgo, right? Because if this would have sold 20 figures, right, like there's no reason to do anything, right? So then we're gonna bring in people to do a comic book, right? And this is gonna be a prequel novel to the movie, so it's gonna take place before the movie, not a sequel, right? So we're gonna learn a little bit more about why is Gorgo off the coast of Ireland? Why is there no one who's actually ever planned for this? And then obviously it's implied in the movie, right, that Gorgo has come ashore before, right? That they have the sea monster and they call it Ogra, right? So there's implications that there's been other encounters on that island. There wasn't any British people trying to steal things from the Irish until then, right? So right. So that's the next thing, right? And that's popular, right? What we want to do and what I've been trying to build up and get connections with, right, is we want to do animation. That is the long-term goal that we feel like is the best way for us to be able to promote our own IP. It's our best way to also, you know, make these monsters more relevant, right? Because the best thing about taking obscure kaiju is that it gives us a baseline of people who love it, and then it lets us grow it. And I think a good example of this, right, is we worked with Terrell Christie, right, on our ad that we animated
it's gorgeous
figure, right?
Okay.
We redid everything from the movie. We did it all in CGI. It looks great, right? And that's kind of it's one of these things where it's like it's a step, right? We have to learn what are the assets we need to have to make it work. And hopefully when we do animation, it'll be 2D and we'll be able to find the right animators to it. But it's a process, right? I gotta find people who I trust and I feel like are gonna do this. And then there's also, you know, cash on hand issues that have to be solved.
For sure.
And then but really, if the figure and the comic book sells well, there is a very high chance that we're gonna really push to get that animated film done.
Yes. This dude, like
this pleases me. This pleases me.
To put it mildly, yeah. Oh man, that's like pinch me levels of like what timeline is this? We're gonna like a Gorgo animated movie in a comic book. Yes, please. My gosh, this poor monster has been neglected so long. She deserves love. But yes,
she does. She does. Now, I have kind of a selfish question for you, Mac. Now, if you can't tell, I'm a big X Plus collector. I love X Plus. I love the very detailed, screen accurate figures, preferably in the 30 centimeter size. Would it be possible to get a 30 centimeter accurate Gorgo at some point in the near future?
Yes, that is going to happen.
Okay.
My understanding of what we're going to do with that is we're probably going to have a sample by GFest of that, and by GFest we'll have a working sample of the articulated one. So if you're at GFest, come over to our booth and you'll be able to move the figure.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
See everything, right? And
oh man,
we'll probably have the print, the not official 30 centimeter Gorgo there that you can see how it scales. Then that will probably go up for pre-order, I guess, November, and then ship March of next year. Just because the idea is we'd want to ship all the 6-inch figures first, and then kind of reinvigorate the Gorgo hype, because we have the sculpt done, right? I have Doe Pope's original sculpt without the articulation, and it looks great.
Right.
So I'd rather use that for something other than just, be like, oh, well, we chopped it up and it's what it is.
Right. Right. I mean, that would be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, because I will be at GFest. I know my friend Danny will be at GFest. So we'll definitely I think that'll be one of our first stops in the showroom, just to come by and see y'all and check out everything that you guys got going on. And we're very excited for everything. Now I have to ask, in terms of that 30 centimeter, is that contingent upon the success of the articulated, or is that sort of a done deal? It's going to happen regardless.
So it's probably going to happen. I mean, we're 20 away from 500 orders.
Right.
I really doubt that those 800 aren't sold by October when these ship. So basically the 6-inch figure is good. We feel like that's a success. It's been crazy. I can't believe that we've sold almost 500 a week. That was never actually something I thought was possible. It's why the Bell sub thing hasn't been shown yet, because I thought we had probably 2-3 weeks to get the sculpt on that done. Right. So that was a mistake, but everything there is good. The 30 centimeter one, right? My guess is it's going to be a little bit more expensive than the 6-inch one. And we're probably going to do similar to what X Plus does with the Rick, doing a one that comes with the mom and the baby. That's kind of the whole plan.
Yes.
Right. And then we'll probably spin the baby off into doing kind of a 4 points of articulation one, like our Titanic is, which we'll then be able to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So so you can be able to buy all of it as a package, right, with the 30 centimeter, right? But then we can cover, the cost of making the little baby figure that's going to be a lower articulation version than the higher articulation one. It's just more stuff for Gorgo people in general.
And surprise, guys, Mac was nice enough to send us all a sample. So I have a sample of that figure. Right. Wait, Hank, no, that's not the right one.
Yeah.
Oops, that's not the. Oops, sorry.
Joke's on you. Mine's been photo bombing the whole time. He's just kind of been there in the corner. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't remember what company. So this figure here is not. It's not a figure. It is a model. It is a model kit. I'll just lift him up, because since he's been photo bombing, and this is. I mean, he's not painted. This is a commercially available model kit. I don't think it's available anymore. I don't remember who put it out. Polar Lights, maybe, or I don't remember. But
I think it's the Polar Lights kit, yeah.
Or Monogram. Polar Lights. Okay, I couldn't remember. But it's beautifully detailed, but it's plastic. It's not articulated. It's not going to have the Dope Pope sculpt. This is a model kit. It is not a figure, and I can't believe we're actually getting a figure. Like, we're actually getting, it's going to be an articulated figure. It's going to be beautifully detailed, beautifully painted. I never thought, I mean, I've been in love with Gorgo since forever. I love that film. I love that monster. And I just didn't think anybody was ever going to do it, because, legal things notwithstanding, I just didn't know if there was ever going to be any interest in it, because it's one of those weird things where you don't hear about Gorgo a lot, but every time somebody says, "Oh, Gorgo," it's always, "Dude, I love Gorgo." It's never like, right. Gorgo blows, man. Like, everybody, just people who love Gorgo, and it's like a little niche within, like if you stand in a room full of 10 people and you say, who's a Godzilla fan? You might get one hand. If you'd stand in a room of 10 Godzilla fans and yell Gorgo, you might get one hand. It's a niche within a niche within a niche.
Right.
And,
right. And
then you see all these people come out of the woodwork within a week, you know, to throw money at this project. And you're like, my people, they exist, other Gorgo fans. And that's just me from the perspective of loving what you guys do and loving Gorgo. And oh my gosh, I was so happy for you guys to see that number go up. It was so good. I can only imagine how like kind of stunned in a good way and just over the moon you guys must be. Like, my gosh, what a vote of confidence.
I think really the biggest thing is like, so I put it up on the website 10 a.m. right? The night before I'm up till like 4 a.m. waiting for the renders to get through so that, you know, we can see what it looks like, make sure it looks good, and get that on the site. So whole site's ready to go 4 a.m. right? We press play at 10 a.m. And I'm like, I'm gonna go shower, I'm gonna get ready for the day,
right?
Whatever. So I walk away from my phone. I come back. I'm like, wow, there are 100 orders placed in the first hour. And I'm like, okay, this went a little bit different than.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
Because, like,
indeed,
right? Because with our other figures, right? Scrayus, we did 200 pre-orders, which was great. I was like, great, you know, whatever. And that was $40. And this one, I'm like, wow. And it just really speaks to how there's a lot of stuff out there that is underappreciated and people do want to see. And I think it also speaks a lot to the amount of trust people have in what we've already produced and that they feel like we are going to give them a good product as well.
Oh, absolutely.
That is an incredibly important one. And if you weren't going to say it, I was about to say it, because this is a vote of confidence for Gorgo, for sure, as an IP, as a character who we love very much. But this is also a vote of confidence in the work that you guys have done so far. And the fact that, you know, people have these and this work that you've done, this has garnered very well-earned trust. People trust you because you gave them something like this with the amazing box. I display my Titanicus with the box because the box is so great.
Right.
So the whole package is just
exactly.
perfection. And so people trust you and they now know what to expect. The ground rules have been laid. You've proven yourself and people are jumping on board, not just because they want this, but because they know what you can give them. And that is tremendous. That's really, really, I hope you guys are happy, like just with yourselves, because my gosh, that's
and
just
if people,
so cool.
If you can get people to, go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna stop talking. Sorry.
No, you're good. This is your time, man. Go for it.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything to add right now. So ask your question. My fault.
Okay. The only thing I was going to say was if you can get people to vote with their wallet, like that's a really special thing. As of the time of this recording or the time of this live stream, we're still at 463. So,
and that's lowballed, right? Because it's still
it's lowball. That's what I was going to say.
The counter is off. Yeah. So it's closer to.
So if anyone actually wants to know what the real counter is like, take the number on the site and add 16, right?
Okay.
Because what has happened is there's weird date that wiped out 7 orders just randomly, and don't worry, I have all of the shipping information and everything is fine, right? It just doesn't count on the orders placed, which is really annoying. And then also we had to move away from PayPal as our card processor, because PayPal, apparently, if you're very successful, PayPal decides that they want to put a 60% hold on all your funds for 230 days.
What the heck?
So,
wow.
I had no idea. Wow.
So we raised in that first day $37,000, right? And this is but I'll finish with the order place thing, right? So, but 7 are missing there, and then we've been doing payment plans off the site for those who wanted to do a payment plan through PayPal, but we can't now. And so that's 7 more. And then there's 2 more that were invoices through PayPal. So 16 extra ones there. So that's where the 480 number comes from.
And
that's also the number I'm using for the stretch goals as well. But
nice.
I do kind of want to talk about this PayPal thing because I know a lot of people probably are wondering why we went away from PayPal. But
go for it.
So we sell 350 figures the first day, basically, right? And PayPal locks our account entirely because because we've never made $35,000 in a day, right? So they think, I guess we're selling cocaine or something. I don't.
Right? Something illegal is going on. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So
you're getting on that Gorgo, man. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So my first thought was like, okay, this isn't a problem. Whatever. I don't need to have this money immediately available. Right. But usually PayPal releases the money in a few days. It's not a problem. Then they call me and they're like, yeah, we need some protection on this. So they take $13,000 away off the top. Right. So that just because they feel like they can. And then after that, they're saying all future orders, and this includes stuff we have in stock, they want 60% for 230 days.
Wow. No, leave PayPal.
So,
run. Head for the hills. Get away from that.
Run.
Yeah.
So
screw PayPal.
Yeah, but so I sit down. I sit down. I'm like, we're gonna have to sell 800 of these just to fund orders with a 60% hold, right?
Wow.
And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I actually don't have to let them process the cards. So the good news is the folks over at Square were fantastic and helped us get their processing up on the site within like an hour. And so the good news is we are able to move that off and everything is good there. But like, I know a lot of people wanted to pay through PayPal, and I just kind of want to give an explanation about why we had to move away from that.
I paid through PayPal, so I feel like I'm part of the problem.
No, you're not. Because
I'm kidding.
5 years, right? We did this for 5 years.
Paid through...
Whoops. What do you want from me? I paid through PayPal. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. Man, that 60 friggin' percent. Whew.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Oh my gosh.
We thought,
hey guys,
we thought that Kickstarter taking a chunk up front was painful. I mean, that's 60% of your profit, or 60% of 60% of your profit. That's
just revenue.
Man, that's awesome.
Is that even legal? Can I even do that? That's crazy.
Like robbery.
It is robbery. It's highway robbery. Good.
But like, gravy. I mean, we've basically covered that $13,000, so I'm not worried about it right now. At the end of the day, it's going to be a $1,300 bonus I get when they ship, right? But the thing is, like, if say we were only at 750, right? It is really alarming that like a company, if you are starting up and you get successful, that a card processing company can just be like, we're actually not going to let you have the money that you raised. And I mean, that's just me speaking up as someone who wants other people to be successful around their business. I want you guys to be successful. I want everyone to be successful here, right? It's like, it is rigged. The game is rigged.
It is rigged. That's a good public service announcement. That's good to know. Oh my. The dopest of popes.
The dopest of popes has entered the chat. I thought we've had a lot of influx of listeners come in and out of the stream. So thank you guys for showing up. I haven't been able to catch all of you guys, but we wanted to point out that the man, or one of the men that we've been talking about this whole time, Dope Pope, has showed up. So man, this is phenomenal work. So thank you for all the stuff that you're doing with Titanic, with Mac and his team. It's phenomenal.
If you want to hear us gush more about you and how awesome you are, go back to the beginning of the stream when it's done.
Yeah, rewind about
rewind it.
Yeah, rewind it about like 45 minutes or so, and you'll hear us gush about it. So,
yeah, and he's asking about this Gorgo as well, and another comment. Mr. Pope, if I might call you that, this is the, what do we decide? This is the polar lights.
The polar lights, I think, is what we said.
Polar lights monogram, one of the two. Mm-hmm. Plastic. It's just a plastic model kit. It has a base. There are pegs in the bottoms of his little feet, but he's unpainted. It's just a plastic snap together, glue together model kit. I don't think they've made these for a while, but this is the only Gorgo that I have. This is the only Gorgo in my collection, and I cannot wait to get a more detailed, painted, articulated one in my collection. I am so jazzed. So, yep, that's the story behind Photobomb Gorgo here. That is who he is. That is what he is.
I do have a question about that Gorgo.
Mm.
It comes
Yes.
with a base, right? With
Yes.
the clock, right?
Yes.
Does the clock work? Does the clock work? Is it actually like a real clock?
No, it's just a plastic snap together clock. It's in a couple of pieces. You could probably, it's in a box. I can't. If I could, I'd just grab it and show you. But it's off camera in a box somewhere.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's kind of like the Aurora Godzilla kit, where it's just a flat plastic base, and then pieces of a building that you snap off and you glue it together. So it's just a hollow plastic clock. It doesn't do anything other than just sit there. You can paint it to look real, but it does not actually. It does not actually tick. It does not actually do anything.
If you could tell time,
Yes.
best thing you could put on a table, possibly, right?
That's right. That's right. But yeah, that's the story. And I mean, you can look it up on Google. There are probably pictures of people who've actually painted theirs. Unlike me, I have like the Midnight Gorgo here with no paint on it. It's not laziness; it's a paint variant. That's where I'm going.
I was gonna say it's a blank variant.
It's a blank variant. Yeah, that's like it's not because I haven't had the time or to sit down and paint the. Really? You come over. I will come
all
over
the
there
love
and I will.
All the love in the world, Danny.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, Hamilton. I'm just saying the truth hurts.
But is it spam? I don't know.
It might be. We don't.
It might be. It might be made of spam. Who knows? Mac, I actually have a really like kind of a question I want to ask you. So if you could do any like pie in the sky, kaiju, whatever it would be, through Titanic Creations, it could be an already existing IP or something that you are dreaming about right now. What would that creation be that you would like to produce?
And why is it the giant claw?
We're back to the stupid giant claw.
The friggin' giant claw. Okay, forget. Okay, so for real. Go ahead.
One of the first ones that I would love to do is and I don't think this is ever going to happen, but if we ever did do Godzilla, right, is I would love if Toho would let us do the Stan Winston Godzilla.
Dude.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Would you like my bank account routing number right now? Would you
right. Because
listen, like my man, a few years ago, did you ever think to yourself you'd be doing an official Gorgo figure? I don't think it'll ever happen. You're doing it.
Right.
You're doing it. So don't, pie in the sky, but don't rule it out. Don't rule it out, man. You can
Adam agrees. Adam agrees. 1,000 times
Stan Winston Godzilla. That would be, and I know there are people out there that have done 3D printed fan versions and sculpts and things like that. But oh my gosh, could you imagine that with take my money? Yep, that would be good.
The other thing that I would really love to do with Godzilla is I've collected the gigantic series X plus Godzillas, right? There's a part of me that would just love to make like a 24-inch tall, fully articulated Godzilla with like hands that move, the whole shebang, right? It would be a ridiculous figure. It wouldn't be practical. It wouldn't be shippable.
No, not at all. Really not even a little bit.
It would make no sense. But if you had it, you'd be like, yeah, this thing is awesome. The light that make the back spikes light up out.
Yep. These things in and of itself, like these things are so impractical even by themselves. Like to have one that's fully articulated, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I would buy it. I would buy it.
It would be the most. It would also be like the thing. Like if you did it right, everyone who wanted to have like the Godzilla figure, right, would be like, see, I have the 24-inch fully articulated Godzilla. What do you guys got? Right?
What am I doing?
I'm
sitting in my home with my 24-inch tall, fully articulated, light up Godzilla that roars and makes sound effects and actually breathes radioactivity. What do you do?
And makes me dinner.
Yeah. And makes you dinner, pays your rent for you, does your
brings
taxes,
me a beer when I want it,
vacuums your carpet.
It's way better than Amazon's little Astro robot.
There you go. No, here's what you do: is you get one and you put him on a Roomba. You just kind of strap him to a Roomba and let him go. There you. That's how you do. You can. Do
Adam does have a good point. He says, "Well, I mean, there is 2+ feet tall, fully transformable Transformers. So why not a fully operational, fire-breathing Godzilla that's also 2 feet tall? I mean, why
exactly
not?
Right?
Why not?
You know, just like Radioactive Man from The Simpsons comes with real radiation.
There you go.
Man. I want somebody. I think I don't remember who did it. Super 7. I think Super 7 just did one of these. Like, for some reason, I want a gigantic Reptar. Not like, I just want a gigantic scale Reptar for some reason. Oh Jesus, here we go. So
I have X Plus giant Reptar. I bought the X Reptar figure. It is definitely worth it. They still have them in stock too, but it was that is the best one. But also, like, have you ever noticed with the Reptar figures, they never look like the toy that they have in Rugrats, right? It was like stylized. Like, there's never
look like an actual dinosaur.
Holding.
It doesn't quite look.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know why.
It's always kind of an interpretation for some reason. I don't know why. But it's, a little bit of. I mean, there's wiggle room because of the cartooniness to it. But yeah, like an actual accurate Reptar that looks like the actual toy in the show. Oh my gosh, that would be great.
So we have. I want to make sure we address this question really quick. Looks like Fairmix said I think this is a question about the Gorgo figure that you're producing. Does the Big Ben accessory come with the ability to break it?
So here's what we're gonna do. Is the 600 goal, right? We're gonna give you like the top piece that is like the broken piece, so like you can hold it in Gorgo's hand. I'm gonna add another stretch goal where it's the full breakable tower, right? Because right now, if you look at our breakdown of the stretch goals, right, it goes from 500 to 600, and then it's 750. Right. My thought is we need one in between, 675, 650.
Can you pull that up, Michael, so the viewers can see it while he describes it?
The list of stretch goals.
Oh, just the stretch goal. It's on the main Gorgo page. Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead and pull it up so people can see to see the stretch goals, because some people might not know about the stretch goals. The stretch goals are important as well. So yeah, just so we have that people have a visual reference. Go ahead, Matt.
So like, if you look at our stretch goals, right, 400, we were doing the Bell sub, right? And we called the 350 baby Gorgo a stretch goal, but that was always the plan. We weren't shipping Gorgo without the baby and the mom. So the 400 one, right, is the Bell sub. I know a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about when I say that. It's the like the part in the movie where they go down to see baby Gorgo and he grabs it, and that's a good scene from the movie. Because that's basically a lot of what these accessories are based on. And then 500, which we're 20 away from. So if you have any friends who are big fans of Gorgo and want to add one real quick, that's going to come out. So the jets, there's going to be classic 1960s jets. They're going to be on a stand. It's going to probably be a standard thing from now on that comes with all of our figures, just because I'm going to have the mold. So that's a big one.
Might as well
those are locked in. So Big Ben, right? We have a 600 as the Big Ben accessory. So right now, what we have is the top part, right? So it's like if you broke it off, Gorgo can hold Big Ben in his hand on your shelf. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another one. It's like a 675, 650. That like is the full tower, and it's gonna be kind of breakable, like the crumble zone kit, I think is the best way to put it, except it'll be painted, not just standard.
Right. Yeah, just gray plastic.
Right.
Yeah.
And then and then finally the 751 is we're just gonna put LEDs in the eyes, right? It's not a huge stretch goal, but it's also the one that requires me to put this contains batteries on the shipments. So that's why it's the last one. Because but the reason we did the light up eyes for Gorgo is if you watch the movie at night, it looks like his eyes are glowing. So that's basically the breakdown of why we did all the stretch goals we did.
Right. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I want all of the stretch goals, but if we could just, if we just stopped at Big Ben, I'd be totally happy with that. Totally happy with
light
that.
up eyes all the way. Come on, light up eyes. Light up eyes.
See, I'm not big on, I've never been like a big light up guy. Like I've never really liked light ups all that much.
Then you don't have to light yours up, Michael. I'm gonna light mine up.
Fine, whatever. You want to be, just be like that. Be
I will be like that. Light my Gorgo.
I never play. So, I have light ups in this collection, and I never turn them on. That sounds really awful out of context, but you know what I mean.
Oh boy. No. I'm putting the kibosh on that one right now. We're not going there. We're not going.
Go ahead, Mac. Finish your thought.
So I think the other thing with the light eyes is what's probably going to end up happening is it's going to be a separate head altogether. So you'll basically have a standard one, and then you can put your shiny eye one on. So in case, like, if you want, it's basically you can create your own Gorgo at that point.
Nice. I like it.
Nice. Man, this has been so good, man. That you got so much, like you've put a lot of thought into this project, and it sounds as though you got a ton of passion behind it too. And that's half the like if you're like people are willing, I think people are willing to buy this thing just because you're just as passionate about this stuff as they are, and that shows. So one last question before we got to get out of here. What is, and we've kind of probably already touched on it a little bit, but what's next for Titanic Creations, the Gorgo project, just you guys in general? Like what's going to be happening in 2023?
So 2023, next thing on the calendar is all of our Soul War comic books are going to ship. So if you guys haven't bought that yet, get your orders in now. It makes my life a lot easier to just do all the pre-orders at once.
I've got mine ready to go. I'm excited.
The day of. Right. And so that's next thing on the calendar. After that, May 5th through the 7th, we're going to be at All Monsters Attack again. So if you guys want to take your pictures with Titanicus, I guess we didn't talk about that at all, is that we have a 10-foot tall Titanicus costume as well.
And it's amazing. I've seen it in person.
It is amazing.
It is so good. It is so beautiful. Who is in that, by the way? Is that you
me.
inside that?
I am
That's
the only person who's tall enough to make Titanicus actually happen.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
6'7".
6'7".
I'm 6'7".
I knew you were tall, but I couldn't remember how tall. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
If we're gonna make a big Titanicus, right, I've got to be inside.
Right, exactly.
So if you ever want to know my passion, I'm all about it.
I love it.
Right.
That's cool.
Soul War, All Monsters Attack, GFest. What else? What else is cooking?
Two more conventions. We're in Orlando 2 weeks after All Monsters Attack for horror. I don't remember the name of the show. A Spooky Empire is what it's called.
That's it. Yeah, Spooky Empire. Yeah.
Yep. And then 2 weeks after that, we're at Monster Palooza in LA, and I'm going to be playing Miles in my car. So I think Monster Palooza probably will be the first time we have the functioning articulated Gorgo. All Monsters Attack will have the prototype, the 3D print, but it won't actually work because, rubber. So the other thing, there's one other thing. Other thing is I expect to have an announcement on what's going to happen after Gorgo, probably within a month. So stay tuned to our Twitter, which is Titanic Creations with 1C, because the person you took to Titanic Creations really loves cupcakes, and we could not get the handle.
That's frustrating. That's frustrating.
But so that's all the big things coming up for us right now.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. Sure. We do have one more Gorgo thing that's going to come out and be shipping by July. It is going to be a plush that is completely designed by Matt Frank, and I believe we'll be showing the first ones in about 10 days here.
Dude,
yes. Can we get a
Gorgo Apocalypse?
Can we get a sample and just get an early review out there through Kaiju Ramen? Just asking. You know, I promise to I promise to return it. Maybe
he's not going to return it. You mail that to Hamilton at your own risk.
The good news is that basically, if you guys want to do reviews, especially Gorgo, we're going to have, I think, 5 that we're going to be shipping around to everybody. So if anyone wants to do an early review, please let us know. Just send us an email. It's Titanic Creations, once again with 1C.
That would be
at gmail.com.
That would be so good.
Those have to be returned. So, but
well, yeah,
of course.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure. That's our thing. Is hopefully we can start seeing reviews in July, and everyone can be really excited for when they ship early October, late October.
Sounds like fun. Figure, plushy, 30-centimeter movie, comic book. We're falling into the Gorgo verse here, is what we're doing.
We are.
Right?
This is the Gorgo.
Basically,
verse.
I am getting everything out of Gorgo possible.
Listen, you put the work in to find who owned the darn thing and get an agreement with them going, do whatever you can, do everything and anything you can with that thing. I mean, again, because who else called them up and said, hey, we want to do a Gorgo toy and a Gorgo animated movie? And nobody gave them that call. Nobody gave them that call. You gave them that call. You earned it. Mm-hmm. Let's plushies and toys and movies. Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah. Plushies and toys and movies. Oh my.
Yes.
So Mac, thank you so much for taking the time. I know we went a little longer than I promised, but this was such a fun conversation.
It's okay.
We appreciate you. We appreciate all the work you're doing for the community, all the work you're doing with Titanic Creations. Obviously people can find you guys at TitanicCreations.com primarily /Gorgo. Go order the Gorgo, people.
Right.
Get them, help them crush that goal. They're so close. But you guys are gonna crush that, I think. You absolutely will. You absolutely will get those 800 because people seem excited about this project. But yeah, man, congratulations to you and everything you guys got going on. Looking forward to seeing you guys again at All Monsters Attack because we'll be there. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We'll be at All Monsters Attack May 7th or May 5th to the 7th in Chicago. We'll have a table there through Kaiju Ramen. Come hang out with us after you go hang out with the guys at Titanic Creations, of course. And then for everything else Kaiju Ramen related, go to kaijuramenmedia.com. We just put out our latest issue, number 8. I believe its physical copies are already sold out, but don't worry. We are going to have physical copies of some back issues as well as the most recent issues at All Monsters Attack to sell at our table. So please go ahead and stop by and do that. And maybe you'll see me there dressed in the Titanicus costume because Mac was so kind to let me wear it for the day.
Exactly,
I don't know yet. We're still workshopping that one though.
Smooth,
man,
Michael.
I gotta try. I gotta.
You shot your shot, man. It's fine.
I gotta shoot my shot. Even if I get shot down, that's fine. That's fine. My dream is to actually. I tried. I wanted to get the nerve to ask the person that was in the Kiru Goji suit at All Monsters Attack last year to let me wear it, but I never could get the balls to ask them to let me do that. And they probably wouldn't have let me anyway. So
no,
that's
I
the
imagine
dream.
they wouldn't have.
Probably
never been brave.
That's still our most liked video on all of our platforms is the video of Titanicus and the Godzilla suit that at that convention. It was,
that was cool.
I don't want to shill too much, but if if you guys really do want to go to a convention, you guys should go to All Monsters Attack. They have been far more kind to us than the other one. I don't want to.
The other one that shall remain nameless.
I will be at GFest. Right. And I really appreciate all they've done to help us and everything. But so I just want to make sure that if you guys are thinking about choosing one, I feel like you should go to that one. This is my personal opinion.
Absolutely. Like we love All Monsters Attack. Like we had Danny and Nate and we all had such a good time at All Monsters Attack. last year, and it was just a pleasure to see everybody. Some people I've never met before, like our friend Eric at Bearded Kaiju Reviews. Never met him before. He's a very good friend of mine, but it was just good to see everybody. It was just good to see you in person, Mac, and see all the work that you and your people have done with these IP, and looking forward to more, man. So thanks a lot for doing this with us. This was a blast.
For sure. I had a great time, and I hope we get to do this again soon.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Danny, before we get out of here, you want to do any shameless plugs for yourself?
Oh gosh, we're not here for me. I don't have to do any plugs.
Okay, well, follow the GodzillaNovelizationProject.com. I think it's GodzillaNovelizationProject.com.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
that's
if you like
enough.
reading,
Okay.
if the idea of reading Godzilla as books sounds cool, GodzillaNovelizationProject.com. I'm publishing them chapter by chapter. Just put out the latest chapter of Godzilla versus Megalon for the 50th anniversary. There you go. There are about a billion things I could sit here and ramble about, but we're not here to talk about me. But yeah, there you go. There's my plug. Thanks for the help, Michael.
Oh, no worries. Also, stay tuned for the written review, or for the written version of this interview on KaijuRamenMedia.com. Our friend Danny here will be writing that along with the video to this conversation, in case you missed it. But until then, just I guess I don't know how to end these damn things, so I'm just gonna say bye, guys. Thanks for showing up.
Right, bye. Thanks for having me.
Professionals. We're professionals.